Hey guys, this is Jason, and this is my review for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, directed by Ryan Coogler, and stars mostly the cast from the first Black Panther, except for Chadwick Boseman because he sadly passed away, and the filmmakers had no choice but to kill off T'Challa for this film because they thought Chadwick Boseman was perfect for the character and they didn't want to replace him with a different actor. After the mourning and loss of King T'Challa, the people of Wakanda, like Shuri, Okoye, Nakia, and newcomer Riri Williams, have to protect the entire nation from Namor and his army of blue people from the ocean. No, not those blue people, these blue people. When it comes to Ryan Coogler, I think he's fantastic. He has made some really good films, like I really liked Fruitvale Station, and I love Creed, and I actually enjoyed his Black Panther film. I don't love the first Black Panther, but I still enjoy it for what it is. I still have fun. I do own the Blu-ray, and I do get why a lot of people do love it, because it's not a very typical superhero film. It has a message that a lot of people can get behind. It has great characters, an awesome score by Ludwig Göransson. Chadwick Boseman is great as T'Challa, and Michael B. Jordan is awesome as Killmonger in that film. I'm gonna be honest, when this movie was coming out, I was both excited and concerned. Excited because of Ryan Coogler coming back to direct it, but concerned because I didn't like the idea of them making a Black Panther movie without Chadwick Boseman, because he's the Black Panther, which I'm pretty sure that the cast and crew and Coogler himself were having a difficult time making this film because of that. But the other part of me still wanted to give this movie a chance and see that it would honor Chadwick Boseman and his performance as the character. And it does. It pays respect to Boseman very well, and it does get you in the feels of certain scenes where they're talking about him. And if you decide to go and see this film, then bring a box of tissue paper with you, because it definitely gives you the emotional punch for both the story and the characters. This film takes itself very seriously, and sure, there is some of that usual humor that we've liked seeing in some Marvel films, and some of it is pretty funny here, but there's not that much. It tones down on the humor and goes the more serious route, and I think that's a very smart idea, because if they used too much humor, it would have overstayed its welcome and ruined the tone they're going for. The characters are interesting and well developed. You get to understand their motives and where they're coming from. Like, for instance, Shuri, played by Letitia Wright, is still trying to register with the loss of losing her big brother, and you do feel bad for her in those scenes. The acting is strong. Everyone in this movie looks like they were giving it their all. Like, for me, Lupita Nyong'o is great as Nakia. Angela Bassett is phenomenal in this film. She's one of the standouts for me. And another standout for me is Letitia Wright as Shuri. She is amazing in this film. And when you see Shuri's reactions and the pain that she's dealing with, she really gives it her all, and you start to feel sympathy for her throughout the film. And for me, she stole every scene that she's in with Angela Bassett as well. The score, once again composed by Ludwig Göransson, is fantastic. It definitely matches the tone this movie's going for, and it's gonna be in my head for a while, just like it did with the first Black Panther film. The action scenes are very fun to watch and sometimes very intense, and for me, they're kind of better than the action in the first Black Panther film, because in the first Black Panther film, while they were still fun to watch, but sometimes the CGI in those scenes can be distracting. Here, they do use real stuntmen in those fight scenes, and they can be pretty intense to watch. It's not a perfect film, though. I do have some issues with it, and I'm gonna get to them right now. Like, for one, this movie is 2 hours and 41 minutes, and that's really long for this movie. And there are some scenes that do drag that aren't really that interesting for me, and I would have liked it if they removed like 20 minutes of the film, and it really wouldn't make a difference if they did. Martin Freeman is also back in this film, and I do think Martin Freeman is a good actor, but when it keeps cutting back to him in certain scenes that are supposed to be important for the plot and why they need to be there, and I do get why they're important, I get why they're there, but they just didn't feel like they were the same movie. It felt like it was just there to set up a certain thing that could happen in something else, and I would have liked it if they'd done something different with his character. And my last issue with the film is Namor, the villain of the film. The actor playing him, Tenoch Huerta, still did a pretty good job, and the character was sometimes threatening, but he's not a very compelling villain, in my opinion. Like, he has a motive that relates to his backstory that's supposed to be interesting, but for me, it doesn't make me sympathize for him as a character. So with Namor, that's the one thing in this film I thought was a downgrade compared to Killmonger from the first film. Killmonger from the first Black Panther film I thought was much better than Namor in this film. Black Panther Wakanda Forever is not an amazing film. I don't think it's quite as good as the first film. It does have some issues, like the pacing can drag in some scenes, and Namor is not an amazing villain, but it has great action scenes, great acting, really good and compelling characters, an awesome score, and it pays respect to Chadwick Boseman very well. I do want to buy the Blu-ray, I do want to watch it again, but it's not without flaws. It may not be a perfect film, but for me, it is one of the better films in Phase 4 in the MCU. I'm gonna give Black Panther Wakanda Forever a B. Also, I want to say this. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. You were great as T'Challa. And this next one I'm going to mention doesn't relate to this film, but I'm going to mention anyway. Rest in peace, Kevin Conroy. You were an iconic Batman. So guys, I do recommend watching Wakanda Forever. In fact, if you decide to go and see this film, you might end up getting these bowls from the theater, which is pretty cool to have. It's made of metal, although maybe it might actually be made out of vibranium. Not quite sure yet. But if you have seen Wakanda Forever, what did you think about it? Did you think it pays respect to Chadwick Boseman and you thought it was a great film? Or were you disappointed with this one? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like this review, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.